And we are live. Welcome. We had a break last week. Henry wasn't feeling well. Looks like you're doing better, Henry. That's good.
Oh,
Hear that
much
for you.
better, much better. And what was cool was a lot of you know that we're into Bigfoot. Shane and I are. We're big
Mhm.
Bigfoot boosters. Well, we had a special guest last night on our other show. It was Gonzo from Breaking Bad, Jesus Payan Jr.
Yeah, absolutely. And
A lot
I'll
of you
post the
may
link
not
in the
know.
description
Yeah,
below so you
a lot of
guys
you
can
may
check
not.
that out.
A lot of you may not know he's also a Bigfoot researcher, but he also researches like into the paranormal and things
Yeah.
like that. He researches UFOs and stuff like that. If you have Travel Channel, you may have seen him on Mysteries at the Museum or the Mysteries at the Monument. That's what it
Yeah.
was. He was talking about UFOs. So yeah, so Gonzo is into the paranormal, which is
Yeah.
pretty cool. But we had him on last night. It was great.
Surprising. Oh, yeah. We had him on for about an hour and a half. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and he also talked about some Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. He's in the process of writing and directing a movie that is going to be focused on Tuco and Gonzo and No Dose. It's going to be a prequel to Better Call Saul,
Another prequel. Yeah.
a prequel to the prequel.
Mm-hmm.
And so go check that out. It was real fun. Hopefully, we can have him back on in the near future because he's talking about putting another show together, a paranormal show. So and he's
Yep.
gonna come on and talk about more in depth, talk about that, which is man great. I
And
can. It's
and
fun because
and,
I can
and he
actually call him a friend. He's a good friend.
and he suggested that we call last night's show "Breaking Bigfoot," so that's exactly
Breaking
what
big.
we did.
Yeah, breaking Bigfoot. We've been breaking Bigfoot.
Yeah.
We should have called it Better Call Squatch.
Yeah, I like
That's
that.
that's going to be the next one. Better Call Squatch.
There you go. I like that.
The next one's going to be Better Call Squatch. So speaking of Better Call Saul, we got two really. I thought it was a really two really good strong episodes
Hmm.
to discuss something beautiful and talk. Episodes 3 and 4. Let's get
Yep.
down with episode 3 because episode 4 is kind of a kind of put on the back burner a little bit, but still, I think episode 4 is going to be something to watch out for on in the future
Hmm.
episodes. So episode 3, something beautiful, and
Beautiful was.
I gotta say,
Yeah.
it started off freaking strong. This whole elaborate plan put together by Gus and Nacho and Victor and Tyrus, this whole elaborate plan
Yep.
of how to explain the whole big, huge cliffhanger ending that we had in episode 2 with Arturo and Gus's killing of Arturo. So this whole big elaborate plan was to set up what it looks to be appears a hit on Nacho and Arturo. So
Yeah.
it was Tyrus, Victor, and Nacho putting together this whole elaborate plan, which I thought was excellent. The whole detailing of the plan of them shooting the holes in the car, laying out the spike strips so the car can run over it, and then punting Arturo in the passenger seat and shooting Arturo in the head. And then when it came for Nacho to be put in the passenger seat, he was shot in the arm, and then he got out of the car. He walked, and not Nacho, but Tyrus and Victor wasn't done with Nacho quite yet. They shot him in the side, and they
Uh huh.
dropped the phone and say, "Call before you pass out." And Nacho had a
But not only
yeah,
that, when they were driving down the road, they were dropping pieces of metal and
yeah,
glass
yeah,
on the
shrapnel and
roadway
stuff. Yeah,
to make it look like the car had been shot up. I
yeah,
mean, they were really going all out as far as it was the elaborate,
mhm,
it was a big time. It was a setup. It was, I mean, it was amazing.
yeah,
They were staging a hit type deal, and that was pretty darn cool when they did that.
Yeah, and this whole hit comes into play in episode 4 of, which was really epic with the cousins in episode 4. I don't want to get too much into it, but it was so
Oh, I know.
epic, so badass. But this whole, because Gus has this plan, and this plan is to take over the Salamanca territory. And when we get to see that in Breaking Bad, but we get to see the beginning stages of it. And this whole beginning stages start with this whole elaborate plan of luring the cousins into another part of territory so they can go into episode 4 and take them all out so that Gus can get control of that territory.
Yeah, that was
very smart.
That was a really amazing thing when they did that. That was pretty cool. What we saw in the episode Talk, but we don't want to skip ahead too much.
Yeah. So let's get with let's try and combobulate of what's happened, because we also see Gus in this episode, and we saw a huge surprise cameo in this episode.
Yeah,
I was not expecting.
Before we get to that, though, I mean, we had Jimmy going to Mike's favorite diner, the diner we saw on. We've seen on Better Call Saul. We've seen on Breaking Bad. The same waitress, Fran. The same waitress.
Lola's.
Yeah. The same waitress and everything. And, Jimmy's got this plan to steal the Hummel.
Yeah.
And he figures Mike can get in on that, and Mike can do it, but Mike's like, no, it's not for me.
Yeah, and we was discussing this in the chat, and it's like the main reason why Mike doesn't want to do it is because it's going to get back. If it gets back to Gus, then it's not going to look good, because he's going to get caught, and he's going to get wind up and hold that whole spider web of tangledness. I think that's one reason why that Mike didn't want to do it. The second reason why is because there was no point of doing it, because the guys, Mr. Neff and Henry, wasn't bad to Jimmy. There was no point of getting back at the two. Like Mike said, Mike asked Jimmy if the two guys did him wrong, and Jimmy said no. And Mike is like, well, this isn't for me, and this isn't for you. Mike was trying to talk Jimmy down from this. But Jimmy is still in the grieving process. And we see that continuing into episode at the end of this episode and going into episode 4. And Jimmy's mind is completely not even on planet Earth right now. And I think this whole Hummel thing is, a way to not think about Chuck. He wants to not think about Chuck at all. He doesn't want to think about Chuck at all. And that's the whole point of this Hummel heist. A Hummel heist. Great. This whole Hummel heist is to not only get the money, because he needs the money. Jimmy needs the money because he's jobless, but to take away of grieving for Chuck.
So what happens is, Mike says, basically, it's like contact the veterinarian.
Yeah, he contacts the vet, in which we get another guest in this episode that wasn't Breaking Bad, which we was so confused of who this person was. At first I was like, who is that? He looks familiar, but I can't place him. At first it turned out to be Lawson, but it wasn't Lawson.
It was Ira, who was the owner of Vamanos Pest Control.
Yeah.
Which Walt and Jesse used for their cover, and Mike also.
Yeah, that was a great surprise guest, but nowhere near as exciting as the other surprise guest that we get to see later in the episode, which I thought it was a fantastic scene between Gus and the surprise guest.
But not only did we see Ira and this other individual, we saw the return of Venezia's Pizza.
Yes, the pizza place where Walt...
The pizza place that does not slice their pizzas.
Because they want to pass the savings on to you, as I think
as Badger said.
As Badger said.
That was Badger that said that. Yeah.
It's like, how much can it cost to cut a damn pizza? I
Yeah,
like
really.
Stevie Pete's reaction. Give me some scissors, I can cut that bitch.
Yeah.
Which I thought was great.
But
Fantastic.
and that was also this very same pizza. That it was pizza that Walter had, and he tried to go over and reconcile with Skylar. Skylar said no, and he threw it on the roof. And by the
Yep.
way, Bryan Cranston did that in one take.
One take. And then don't
He
forget
did
the
that.
dipping sticks.
Oh yeah, the dipping sticks. Yeah, that too. Now, the reason we say Venetia's Pizza is because it plays into this episode because the one guy is staying at
Mr.
the
Neff.
office.
Mr. Neff,
Mr. Neff.
the owner of the copier place. So the whole story is that Mr. Neff and his wife got into a little of an argument because he bought his wife a vacuum cleaner, and I wonder if he bought the vacuum cleaner off of the disappearer that we see in Breaking Bad. I wonder if it's the same guy.
Ed.
I'm holding
maybe
out.
bought,
I'm holding out to say it's the same dude.
Thinking he may have bought it from Ed. Yeah.
The vacuum clean repairer.
Yeah. I'm thinking, yeah, that would be cool.
Mm.
It'd be cool. Maybe they could find a way to work Robert Forster into it.
Yeah, I think that'd be because Saul has to and Jimmy has to meet this dude, or at least be aware of him, so he knows who to contact when Walt asks for him to make him gone, make him disappear. So I hope they bring him back.
That would be cool. Yeah,
That'd be a good cameo.
It would be. But what happens is, Ira is able to get into the place.
Yeah.
He grabs the Hummel, and he had the idea, the brilliant idea to switch with another Hummel.
Yeah, well, we saw that. We saw the fake Hummel in the scene between Mike and Jimmy. He had it with him.
Oh, yeah.
And he was
That's
like,
right.
this Hummel looks exactly like the other one, but it's not as expensive. So we have to swap that out. And that's the whole plan. And I was thinking about this, that Mike, he would have scouted that place out before he would have done the job. Ira didn't scout that place out. If Mike would have scouted that out, he would have known that Mr. Neff was there. He would have known he was there. Mike would have known.
He would have, yeah. And the thing was, Mr. Neff was there, and Ira had to hide.
Yeah.
He had to hide so he wouldn't get caught. He had to call Jimmy, and Jimmy had to try and get him out of it somehow.
Yep. And Jimmy had the whole plan of breaking into his car and pulling the parking brake so it can drift backwards so that Mr. Neff can come out and get his car. And I thought the car horn sounded a lot similar to the car horn that was in 1 Minute when Hank was shot. When you hear the car horns honking and everything, it sounded exactly like that one. I thought that was great.
So that's a nice little callback.
Great callback.
Yeah. But of course that provided the distraction that was needed for Ira to get out.
Yeah. And we forgot the whole pitch that Jimmy did to Ira. You shitting gold? You shitting gold?
Oh, you shitting gold? Yeah. Right. Yeah, that was pretty
Jimmy
funny.
had this whole great pitch of saying you shitting gold. If you're not shitting gold after this, you be shitting gold. And then it came full circle. Ira said it was like, as soon as the job was done, it's like he told Jimmy we'll be shitting gold. I thought it was great full circle.
It really was. That whole plot was really interesting. The plot with. So, and what happens is after Jimmy is leaving when Jimmy's leaving the vet's office, one of the cousins, he passes right by one of the cousins. Of course, he would have had no idea who he was and who that guy was at that time. He would have.
I thought that was great. I thought that was a great scene.
Jimmy used the excuse to take that goldfish. He took the goldfish to the vet's office.
Goldfish.
Yeah.
And to tie this in, the Nacho called the cousins, and Nacho told the cousins to call the vet to heal him and everything to make him to take the bullets out and stitch them up and everything. And so we see that happening. We see, the cousins going in, and in that little moment of the cousins and Jimmy, passing each other by, they don't even realize it, which I thought was great, tremendous work by the writers for them to, combine them together, which was great. And then we see the cousins, get the vet, and then the vet is going in the van or something, in the car or in the van, and then taken to this remote location so that the vet can operate on Nacho. And the vet tells Nacho, after this, I don't want to see you, I don't want to hear from you, because this cartel shit, I don't want to be mixed up in that.
Yep.
And this whole Nacho storyline, and we get more into it in episode 4. I got a feeling he's gonna be on the chopping block by the end of this season. I think he's gonna die.
And that's what it seems like is going to happen, because as we see in episode 4, he appears to. I mean, it's not so much that he's bleeding from that one spot where he got shot. It looks kind of brown, so maybe his bowel might have been perforated or something might have happened.
Yeah, we hear the vet tell him that if the bandages get wet or anything, or if it gets opened up, you're going to get one nasty infection and you'll die. And I'm wondering if Nacho's death is just going to be an infection. He dies because of the infection. And it'd just be something so small like that.
That's what I'm wondering also. Because, it's really interesting what's going on. With, like you said, he may just wind up, dying of an infection. I think you're right. I think he probably will wind up dying of an infection. Because, as you mentioned, the vet doesn't want to see him again. The vet does not want any involvement with that. Obviously, because he is a legitimate veterinarian, but he's also, kind of a contact for and kind of an unofficial doctor for the underground elements, as it were.
Yeah, and he brings back to Breaking Bad when Saul says, "I know a guy who knows a guy." He knows, he knows the vet, who knows Mike, who knows Gus. So that's the chain of command right there.
Yeah. So, but and then of course we see Jimmy. And Jimmy finds out that it was successful, and he seems pretty happy with it.
Yeah.
And now he doesn't get the money right away.
No, he gets the money next episode.
Yeah, he does.
We'll talk more about that, because that whole right there is a good Breaking Bad plot point as well. But in this episode, we see Kim going back to Mesa Verde.
Yep.
And Kim, she wants to, and she's got a new paralegal, Violetta, maybe I think it's her name, Violetta or something like that.
Was it paralegal? Viola, not Viola, but
Viola. Viola. It's Viola.
Yeah.
So Viola wants to be helpful, and she's like, "Okay, let me do all this, and you can, stay rest up." And Kimmy is like, "No, I want to do all this," and until she talks to Kevin, and Kevin shows her the room of the branches of Mesa Verde. He wants to do a huge expansion, and it seems to me that Kim is kind of overwhelmed at this point, and she's like, she doesn't want to get into the whole expansion of Mesa Verde and have more work on her.
Yeah, we see Kevin, who was part of that. Yeah, Rex Lynn, that's the name of the actor.
Yeah,
he was actually in a Bigfoot movie called Abominable.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
And his character was married to D. Wallace Stone. They were in the movie at the very beginning.
Mhm.
Yeah. So if you ever seen that movie, it's a really good movie.
Mhm.
It's it's a they say it's a Yeti movie. I don't know if it's a Yeti movie, Bigfoot. They call it a Yeti. So, but no, it's a. I mean, it was great to see that continuity
Mhm.
with Mesa Verde, and the fact that Kim is now working with them.
Mhm.
So, I mean, and that's a nice bit of continuity. They made sure that they went back to that.
Yeah.
And it's great to see that continuity, and the fact that that's the good thing about Vince Gilligan. He doesn't forget things. You know,
Yeah.
he very much has that attention. That he very much likes that attention to detail.
Mhm.
So he makes sure that they always know, hey, this happened. This we're going to come back to this.
Mhm.
So because some shows you watch, their continuity is not very good. They forget
Yeah.
about stuff.
Mhm. Yeah, it's like you get shot one week and they don't talk about it the next.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But that's what I like about Vince Gilligan and the writers room in general. They're really good with that. And it makes me wonder, where is this Kim story going to go? Is she just
Yeah.
going to get is she going to get overwhelmed with everything and just quit the law business in general, or is she going to continue to work with the Mesa Verde project? Because they haven't follow up on with the oil thing that she did last season.
Oh yeah.
The land, I think it was like the oil rights, the land rights of the oil or something like that.
Yep. I remember that.
Yeah. So they haven't followed up with that as well. So I wonder if she's going to get overwhelmed with the work, and she's just going to quit, move out of state. And what's the whole deal with Jim and Kim? We see at the end of this episode, Kim finally giving the letter that was given to her by Hamlin the other week, 3 weeks ago,
Hmm.
2 weeks ago, and she gives Jimmy the letter, and Jimmy doesn't. It's not the reaction that Kim wanted. Jimmy's just sitting there eating his cereal, just reading the letter, and while Kim, she's getting emotional with it. And
Yeah.
there's some theories going around about that letter, and I want to address them. I don't know if you heard. The main theory about that letter is that Kim forged that letter,
Hmm.
and I kind of have a hard time believing that, because
I
if
don't know. I mean, that would mean that Kim would have had to have read the original letter, and if it did have a final screw you to Jimmy, then Kim. Yeah. Well, I mean, it would be interesting. It would be interesting coincidence if that's what happens.
Mhm.
And it's like Kim has the original letter, or she may have destroyed it, or that's just if this theory holds any kind of water at all.
Yeah.
Kim could have destroyed the original letter. That's
Hmm.
assuming she is. That's of course making the assumption that yes, she did forge it
Yeah.
or forged another one.
But see, if because see, here's the thing: you think Jimmy would know Chuck's handwriting, and if it's
Yep.
Kim has to be a good forger to forge Chuck's handwriting. So I don't think Kim. I'm going to go out on a limb and say I don't think Kim forged that letter. I think that was Chuck, um, because it was undated too. And you got to keep that
Uh
in mind. It
huh.
was not dated at all. So this
That's
could
true.
be this letter could be written way before the whole Jim and Chuck blowout. So I think this is Chuck's letter, and I don't think, and the writers and Vince Gilligan said it themselves, they ain't going to sugarcoat anything. I don't think they're going to do throw a curveball at us and say, oh, Kim wrote the letter.
Yeah,
I don't think.
that would not fit with
Yeah.
the way Vince Gilligan writes, and that would not
Hmm.
fit with what he wants to do with the show. for Kim to forge a letter. No.
It doesn't sound like Kim. It doesn't sound like Kim to me. I don't, because Kim is not the type to forge anything.
Yeah, I agree. So in the meantime, I mean, let's see. What else happened on this episode?
So we got to get to the special guest. We got to get to the huge guest.
Okay. Oh, this was awesome.
Epic.
I mean,
so we
see a guy in a lab. He's singing this song.
We see Gus talking on the phone with Donnie Laudio, and because of the whole blowout of the whole Toro situation.
Oh, he was talking to Juan Bolsa.
Juan Bolsa.
Yeah, Juan Bolsa.
And Juan Bolsa says, he tells Gus to get an outside source. Now, who is this outside source going to be?
Yeah.
There's a lot of theories going around. You brought up a good theory, a good point. Declan from season 5 of Breaking Bad. That's a good theory because we know that Declan is involved in this somehow because he knows Lydia, he knows the whole operation of Gus that was going to continue on. So Declan is a good theory, and I'm gonna have to agree with that. I mean, because it can't be Walter. It's too soon for Walter to come in.
Yeah, it's way too soon. Yeah, no, because this is set. This is set before he even gets his cancer diagnosis. This is set before that.
To rewind, I think in episode 2 where we see Rebecca signing the papers, I think that when I saw that scene on that paper for the date, I think it had on there 2003 or 2004. So we're in mid 2000s right now. So 2000. I'm gonna go. I think it was 2004. So that's the year this is in right now. So this is 2004. So yeah, too soon for Walter. So it's not going to be Walter, and we know it's not going to be. We know it's not going to be the surprise guest yet. Yet. But I'm going to go. I'm going to go with the outside source is going to be Declan. It kind of fits. It fits in the whole power play game that Gus is going on.
Obviously, I'm not the one that came up with that theory. It's a person on YouTube. He has a video. He has a channel, and he's a big Better Call Saul fan. And he was the one that theorized. I can't take credit for the theory. This was his theory that it could be Declan because of things that the special guest that we're going to talk about discusses with Gus.
Yeah. So after Gus gets off the phone with the One Bolsa, we see that Gus is walking through a college. He opens the door to the chemistry lab, and we hear a song, the Element song.
Yeah, by Tom Lehrer.
Tom Lehrer, the Element song.
And it's none other than Gail Bedecker.
That was so epic. I marked out from seeing that.
That's what I said too. I said, just as they say in wrestling, I marked out when I saw Gail.
It was great, and this is Gail before Breaking Bad, and I love now the person that plays Gail, David Constable. He's in a new show, Billionaires or Billions. And
Billions, I think.
Yeah, it had him grow a beard. So he had to keep the beard for that scene. However, when we look back in Breaking Bad, there was a picture of Gail. It was like a mugshot, some sort of deal, and he had the beard. So that kind of had continuity to that.
And also, when we see the video of him singing the song Major Tom, he had the beard also.
Did he have the beard?
Yes.
I didn't notice that.
Yes, he did. So, yeah, I mean, it was great to see Gail, and, and he starts talking about the purity of the meth.
Yeah, so Gus had him run the meth samples.
Yeah.
And Gail, being Gail, he's like, this meth is rubbish. I can do a lot better here. I can get you up to 60% purity. And that's just being, and that's just being conservative. It's great to see. I hope that's not the last time we see Gale. We need a little bit more
I
Gale.
know.
We need a little bit more Gale in this season.
But he also mentions about how his outside source is making meth is 67% pure, which is exactly the figure that Declan's men.
Yeah.
That was the purity of the meth that they made.
Yeah.
So that's another clue as to this outside source is Declan.
Yeah. Yeah, I like how he labels it Drek. It's Drek. It's, Gale, classic Gale. And then Gus, turns him down and says that you were made for better things, and we know what those better things are. We know exactly what they are.
Somebody commented. They said, "I hope we see how Gale makes his coffee machine."
Oh, that would be freaking epic if we see that.
The coffee machine, man. Yes.
That would have been great if that was the whole project that he was working on in that chemistry lab. Was the coffee?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was great to see David Costabile back as Gale Bedecker.
Great to see Gale. I mean,
that
was just a huge surprise for all of us.
And I love the video, the extended version of him singing the Elements.
Yeah, that was so freaking epic. If you go on AMC, you get to see the full version of Gale singing the Elements song. We also get another treat. We was talking about this, how the whole Los Porros Hermanos employee training videos. Well, we get a treat, Mike Ehrmantraut's security consultant videos.
I've only seen the first one. I don't know if they released the second one this past week or not.
Yeah, I've been checking their YouTube. Let me see if they released it, because I was hoping they released the second one.
Because the first one is great. There's so many little Easter eggs.
Yeah.
In Breaking Bad Easter eggs in the
big Easter egg is what we talked about. The whole, it's just a time bomb ticket, and I don't want to be there for the boom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God, that was great. They have not released. They have not released the second one yet.
Oh man. I hope they release it soon.
Yeah. It's called Magical Electromotive Security Training.
Yep, that's it. Yep. And it's Mike Ehrmantraut, the security consultant. Now, we do see him go back to that role in episode 4.
Yeah, we do.
So, have we missed anything from episode 3?
I think we cover the big major plot points of episode 3.
Yep. Which was, I mean, first, they have not had a bad episode yet this season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I haven't say there's anything bad.
No, I mean, it's been great. I mean, just. And then episode 4, Talk. The way it starts out, the cold open.
We have a great cold opening in the previous episode, but I absolutely love this one because we see a little boy. We don't know who this kid is, and we see this unknown figure. His dad. Pouring cement and everything in the driveway, and we see the whole boy putting his name in the cement, and it's Maddie, and we found out that it's Mike and his son bonding, and it was so great seeing that.
It was. We don't actually see Mike. We see it. We see things from his perspective, is what we see. But we see Maddie when he was a kid. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we do see Stacy in this episode because she and Mike go to group. Which was the group that Mike had been. Mike was wanted to talk about his son. How he deals with the death of his son.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this whole the whole cold opening is not only a flashback, but a preview of what's to come at that group meeting, because we cut back to Mike, and then he says, you wanted me to talk, I talked, and then and then it goes into the whole opening credits of Better Call Saul.
Yep. And then let's see, I forgot what happened after the commercial. I think
and then it goes straight into the whole delivery of the drugs with the Salamanca and the Espinosa.
Yeah, the Espinosas. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is what's going to tie in later in the episode of the whole what happened from the previous episode of the whole car ruse.
Yep.
So the whole Espinosas. This is territory that Gus wants to control. And so we see a guy named Diego, doing the delivery and everything, and then Diego comes back, and we see Victor sitting in the car and tell him that the delivery is done. Everything's good, set to go, and ready to go with what's going to happen later in the episode.
Oh yeah.
Now we cut back from that, and then going into the Jim and Kimmy stuff, and we was talking about this because they showed this in the previews, leading up to the new season of Jimmy telling Kim that he's got a new job, and we was like, well, is he lying to her? Does he actually have a new job? We find out that it's a job for a mobile company that he didn't take at first. At first, he didn't want to take it, but then with the conversation between him and Kim, was the whole Kim saying, hey, you know what, here's a therapist. It might be really best for you to go talk to him about Chuck and everything. And Jimmy is hell-bent on not talking about his feelings at all, about his feelings about Chuck, of where he is right now at this place and time. So he sort of lies to her at first, saying that he's got a new job. He calls the cell phone company back and says, yeah, I'll accept the job.
Yeah, and he takes the job, but it's so tedious because nobody comes into that store.
Yes.
Nothing happens. It's like the boss picked the worst place for Jimmy to work because there's nobody there. Nobody comes in. He's the only employee as well.
Yeah.
And what he does later on, as far as when he, the message that he paints on the outside, which was actually sparked by a conversation with Ira. So anyway,
I love the colors he picked. He picked the red and gold, the same colors as the logo of the Better Call Saul.
Yep. And then we see Nacho, hooking up with the cousins, and they're about to. I mean, and the cousins, of course, they're the badasses. They take out everybody in the Espinosa compound.
Oh my God. This is the freaking epic, so epic. So Nacho, Nacho was Gus's plant in all of this, and I was like, and I told you, I said, Nacho is Gus's Jesse at this point. And,
yes, I think so.
Gus is manipulating Nacho into doing his bidding, just like he manipulated Jesse to do his.
Yeah.
So, Nacho is playing both sides. He's on Gus's side. He has to be on Gus's side at this point because he knows what he's done to Hector and all that. Is either, you either work with Gus or you're going to wind up dead somewhere. You'd be winding up with a plastic bag over your head or a box cutter to your throat.
I mean, yeah, at this point, Nacho is a double agent, essentially. I mean, he's working with both sides right now.
Yeah. He's getting the Salamanca cousins to go to the Espinosas to take them out, and do they take them out in the best shootout I have ever seen? So the cousins, Nacho is like, well, let me get a few guys and we'll take him head on. The cousin's like, no, we're doing this. We're doing this. We're doing this.
A
They've got
two-man execution squad. It's like, wow.
Yeah, so the cousins they get out of the car and they just start raining down bullets on the Espinosa's compound. And it's got to the point that and they filmed it so well. It's like, oh man, what if the cousins doesn't get out alive? Which we know they probably will, or maybe if the cousins get shot or something or injured, and Nacho gets out of the car, and he tries his hardest to provide backup for both of them, but the cousins had it all taken care of. They didn't need no backup.
Yeah.
They took them out. Nacho did take out one guy. I think he took out another. He was going to take out another, but the other cousin came up behind and just took them all out.
I noticed when they were shooting one guy that I could see their breath because they obviously shot that sometime in the winter, but it was obviously cold at that time of the year. But yeah, Luis and Daniel Moncada, I mean, they're just awesome. They don't say very much, but they are more action oriented. The cousins, yes. And of course, I love the boots. The boots
are great. I want to see the freaking axe. I want to see the axe get in play. Because the whole axe, was a big, it was a big object in Breaking Bad because they had it with them. We don't see the axe yet. I want to see the axe.
Well, not yet, but I'm sure that we are. I think we are going to see. I think we are eventually going to see it. Eventually, yeah. And then we see Mike at the diner, and Tamara Tooney's character comes in.
Yeah, Mike and Anita.
Anita. That's Tamara Tooney.
Yeah, she works at a bank, which we see in Breaking Bad, the Craddock Marine Bank.
Oh, yeah.
And it's the exact same bank that Mike uses Dan Washburger to pay for Kylie's deposit, those deposit boxes. That's the exact same bank.
Yep. Yes, it is.
Now, and this also was in the Craddock Marine Bank has also appeared in several episodes of The X-Files.
Including one that we reviewed.
Monday.
Yes. So
full circle. So I want if Breaking Bad is in the same universe as the X-Files.
Wouldn't that be interesting?
That would be great. Yeah, that'd be great.
So anyway, Mike and Anita are talking, and Mike notes that a guy named Henry, by the way, who goes to group.
There's a lot of Henrys in these episodes. You see Henry, the guy at the copier place, Henry. And now, Henry, you've been lying about your wife.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see where this goes.
I know.
I want to see. I'm curious to see where this goes. But yeah, go ahead. Since it's Henry.
And Mike realizes that there's some tells. Yeah, it's like he can read people so well. He knows how to read people. Now, he originally was not going to go to group, but then he made a bet with Anita.
Yeah.
That he was right. He's like, if I'm right, you owe me a certain amount of money.
$10. It was like a $10 bet.
Yeah. So the $10 bet. They make a $10 bet. And Anita's like, I'll take that bet, so. And, I mean, because like I said, Mike knows people. He it's amazing. He has that ability. You could almost say he has a bullshit detector.
Yeah. But I think the thing that set it off was Stacy's story, because she was telling about her day. And then she expresses fear that she's, slowly forgetting about Maddie. She's not thinking about Maddie.
Right. Yeah.
And, Mike hears that, and it just kind of rubs him the wrong way. And it's like, he's like, it's like making him mad, and he's like, okay, the whole not thinking about Maddie is what is broke the camel's back of this whole Henry story, and
Mm-hmm.
that's when Mike says, you know what, you've been lying about your wife, and he basically said he went to the library and did a background check. He kind of alluded to that,
He did, yeah.
and that kind of rubs Anita the wrong way, and Stacy was like, was shocked. It was shocked when Mike was saying that. Henry got up and left, and it was just quiet. And everybody was looking at him, and it seems like with dealing with Mike's grief about his son, while we're focused on Jimmy's grief about Chuck. We're seeing two people right here grieving in a much different way than
Yeah,
we expect normal people's grief.
it's a very interesting parallel between that,
Mm-hmm.
with all that. It's very, very, very interesting.
Mm-hmm. We hear about Mike, we hear about his son, but I want to hear about Mike's wife.
Mm-hmm.
Is she still alive, or is she dead, or is she and Mike got divorced? I want to know more about that, and I hope we get to know more about that.
Yeah, I'm very curious about that because I don't know if he ever really has ever really talked about his wife.
Yeah, I don't think we never hear about his wife.
He's been very, very quiet, of course, about his wife. I mean, nothing. I've not heard him mention his wife once. I don't believe.
I wonder if
So,
that whole thing that happened with Maddie caused a relationship struggle between Mike and his wife. I wonder if that, if you remember back in season 1, when they was talking about him and Maddie, Mike would go on these, drunken binges, and he would drink himself, bars every night, every week. I wonder if Mike's wife, got fed up with it and left him because of that.
ooh, that's a good point. I'm wondering that myself. Could there have been? I mean, because listen, alcoholism can be something that can cause a rift between families.
Yeah.
So it's entirely possible that could be what happened. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, this scene with Mike kind of exposing this guy. It's like, he's probably thinking, anybody else could have, any of you in this group could have also done this basic information search.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I wonder if Mike was just focused on Henry and just in particular, or if he was, have his sonar on everybody in that group. And I wonder if he researched everybody in that group and to figure out if they were lying or not.
Oh, good point. Good point. I'm wondering that myself. I mean, could he be? Yeah, and could it be something he uses against people later on?
Mm-hmm.
Because if he knows things about the group, then and something. Mike is in a group setting, very much like Jesse was. Remember?
Yeah, the group setting, which is great. Kind of callback. It's something we haven't seen Mike do in Breaking Bad, which is like, sit down and in this group setting and just, you can tell Mike doesn't want to be there. He's just there to support Stacy.
And also another thing that's interesting is that remember Jesse in his group, he basically said, "Hey, I'm only here to use you people."
Yeah, to sell you guys meth.
Now, I'm not saying that's what Mike is doing. That's not what Mike is doing. But I mean, it was there were some parallels, you might say, with, you know, but it was very interesting. You know, Mike kind of exposing this guy, like, yeah, you don't have a wife, you never had a wife, you were never married. That, but now I'm wondering, what are the effects going to be going forward with Mike and the group? I mean, are they going to say, okay, you know, we don't want you around the group anymore?
Yeah, and I was also thinking about him and Anita, because it seems like they was going to go into the writers were like, trying to build this kind of relationship between Mike and Anita, this, maybe this romantic relationship. And it seems like, probably after this whole group thing, Anita's just going to not mess with Mike anymore, or say, hey, well, I don't want any part of this, or, calling people out, I was really hoping we can see some kind of relationship blossom between the two, but it doesn't appear to be that way.
I wouldn't think so. Not now, anyway. I mean, because she kind of was trying to discourage him from doing that.
Yeah.
And in fact, Stacy was like, "Pop, pop," and he's like, "No, no, no."
Yeah, and I think Anita was trying to wheel him back too, but after what Stacy said about Maddie, it's just he became unhinged and just let loose.
I think it's something that really triggered something in Mike.
Yeah.
Was the whole thing? Well, what Stacy said, that kind of, set Mike on that course.
And I hope we get to see more the relationship between Stacy and Mike after this group thing. I hope we get to see that next week, Monday night. Because I'm drawn into this because I want to know more. And I want to know more about this Henry character. I mean, does he have a wife? Does he not have a wife? Was he alive? And I think it's going to be fun. I hope we get to see more next week about that.
Yeah, that would be really interesting. But I mean, Mike, he's a very complex individual. For him to kind of expose somebody in group like that. And like I said, again, I'm wondering if this is going to turn the group against him, or if...
Yeah, because Stacy's not in group therapy when we see her in Breaking Bad.
Right.
So are they going to say, hey, you can stay in the group, but Mike, he can't come back, or either we're going to have to let you go, Stacy, or something like that, like you brought up.
Yeah, but I tell you, it adds a really interesting element now to the show. And also, there's also that layer of character, another layer of character we see from Mike.
Yeah, we see that, how he reads people and everything. Because that plays in part in Breaking Bad, too.
A lot of people don't realize that Mike is a very complex character, They think he's just this mindless, automaton thug who just follows along with everything Gus wants. No, he's more than that. And Jonathan Banks plays those elements so well. He has all these layers to him. So let's see. There was another element that happened in this episode. So we do see Nacho.
Oh yeah, Nacho.
We do see Nacho back with his father. He's like, "Can I stay here for a few days?" His father wants to take him to the hospital, but Nacho's like, "No." Now, of course, if Nacho were to go to the hospital and somebody found out about it,
well, you think Gus would provide him with his doctor to fix him up. So maybe that might happen next week. Nacho sees Gus's doctor and he can fix him up more better than the vet did.
I mean, if Gus really if Gus really wants, yeah.
Gus needs Nacho. He needs Nacho alive so he can, you know, get finished with his plan, and then that's when he can, you know, push him aside.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. But I mean, of course, obviously, you know, Nacho's father is very worried about him.
Mm-hmm.
Because, as I mentioned earlier, this is where we see what appears to be some brown up underneath his bandage, not red, but brown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that means is his liver failing? Could be meaning his liver might be failing or something like that.
Or perhaps a perforated bowel. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it could get pretty serious. This could get pretty serious.
Yeah. So, and we also know that Nacho tells Gus that the cousins have gone south until everything dies down, which is going to play a little bit in Breaking Bad because that's where Tuco calls up, you know, his cousins to come and get him so they can bring him back to Mexico. So I think this could be a good way to write off the cousins if they need to be written off for now.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that's the last we'll see of the cousins, because I got a feeling that they have to come back with Lalo. They got to come back with Lalo.
Yeah, when we first see the cousins in Breaking Bad, I mean, we see them in Mexico. They're down in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, could this possibly be the time that they went down there and just stayed there, or do they come back with Lalo and then they go back again?
Well, Lalo has to play a role in this somehow, and the only way that he can play a role is if the cousins go down to Mexico and tells them what's going on.
Yeah, right.
So that's the only thing I can figure out.
Yeah, so yeah, for now they're kind of laying low, and of course, I mean, Hector is pretty well out of the picture for now. He's still basically in a coma.
Mm-hmm.
He has not woken up. He's kind of sort of responsive, but not really.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's getting quite fascinating and interesting. You know, the dynamic with the Salamancas and with Gus and his you know, cartel. The cartel is involved in it and everything. So let's see what else.
Let's see here. I'm ready to the. We do see Kim again. We do see Kim going to the courthouse and just observing for some reason. Observing some trials. And we do see a Judge Benedict Munsinger, who was actually in an episodes of Star Trek. This dude with the guy Ethan Phillips, that's who plays him. And the guy that plays him is named Ethan Phillips, who was in a couple of episodes of Star Trek. So any Star Trek fans out there may know who I'm talking about. But the judge calls Kim to his chambers, and he tells her about the plot of the verdict, that Kim knew exactly what he was talking about. And the judge tells Kim that if he sees her in the courtroom again, he's going to put it to work. And she's and we come back, and the judge comes back from recess, and Kim is there watching, is waiting. So it's going to be quite interesting to see where this is going with Kim.
Yeah, I mean, you know, is she wanting to, you know, try a case? Is she, you know, what exactly is she doing? You know, as far as is she just observing? Is she the judge said he's going to put her to work, so what exactly does that entail? Is my question.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, there's so many subplots that go on Better Call Saul, but they really do work quite well together. So, and some of the subplots actually, link up with each other. Some of them don't, but some of them do.
And plus, the subplots, we really get to see the character of whoever the subplot is based on. So we really get to see more of Mike. We get to see more of Kimmy and her ordeal and all of that.
Meanwhile, Jimmy meets with Ira, gets his cut of the money. Apparently, there's quite a market for those Hummels. So he gets actually more than he expected, because apparently somebody really wanted that Hummel. And it was at like a trade show or something like that. And Ira brings him his cut. Then Ira kind of offhandedly mentions something about that they're listening in on us. So that inspires Jimmy to go back to the cell phone dealership and paint on the side. I can't remember what the message was, though.
Is the man listening? Privacy sold here.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. It's the man listening. Yeah.
So there's going to be some consequences with Jimmy painting on the doors and windows like that. There's going to be some consequences, because we see back in season 2 with Davis and Maine, and Jimmy took it upon himself and do the commercial and air it, and there was consequences with that. And now we see in season 4, Jimmy, taking upon himself to write on the windows and the doors of the store. There's going to be some consequences. There's going to be consequences.
I think so, yeah. But I don't think they're going to look very. I don't think they're going to look very, very kindly upon that. It's like, why is he painting on the side of our building here? And remember, he also talked to his boss about perhaps being moved up to another store. A busier store.
Yeah.
And he and then the guy said, well, it may be a couple of weeks or so before we decide that we're going to. It's like the boss basically tells, let's give it a few more weeks and see what happens.
Yeah. And we see Jimmy throwing the rubber ball against the window. Now, who here thought that the window was going to break? I thought the window was going to break. I thought, Jimmy's going to keep on throwing it, and it's just going to shatter. That's what I thought. But it didn't break.
Yeah, I did too. I thought, is this going to be a way to break the window? What's going to happen here? But no, that's not what happened.
And it's like, we see they show Jimmy throwing the ball. And then we cut back to Jimmy when they get done with all the other plots, and he's just continued throwing the ball. I thought that was great.
Yeah. So let's see. I forgot how this one ended, wasn't it?
All right. So we see Mike. And he's doing his security job.
Yeah, that's right. I almost forgot about that. Yeah, he's
doing it. Yeah.
And then he gets a call.
Yeah, we see that Stacy tries to call him, but he ignores it. He doesn't talk to Stacy, which is surprising to me, because usually he picks up the phone for her. At this point, he just ignores it. Yeah, it's got to be Stacy calling and talking about what happened at group therapy, and I guess he doesn't want to hear it.
Yeah.
So Mike continues, checking the security measures of the Magical. and he gets another call, and
And it looked to me like he now has an official badge. He has a hard hat, so he's all good.
He's got the jacket,
The jacket, yeah. Just like Gus suggested to Lydia, well, maybe you should get him his own. Perhaps you should get him his own badge.
Yep.
Speaking of Gus, that's who calls him, and calls him at work, and then he goes to meet with Gus. He's like, "All right, I'm tired of fooling around here."
Yeah.
Like, what do you want with me? You know.
Yeah. He Gus confronts Mike, saying that you knew that Nacho was going to do something to Hector, and I love this scene between Gus and Mike because they're not on that relationship of Gus entrusting Mike into being his right hand man yet. You know, and it's like this rocky relationship, and I love the back and forth between Mike and Gus. Mike knew when he was sitting. He's like, if you're going to kill me, go ahead and kill me. You would have killed me already. Mike knew that Gus was up to something, and Gus said, he knew that Nacho was going to poison Hector. And Mike retorted and said that, I promised not to kill him. I didn't say nothing about being his bodyguard, which is great comeback from Mike. And then and then Mike says, you got a job for me, so what's that job? And that was it. Gus has a job for him. And we don't know. Hopefully next week we'll see what that job is.
Yeah, I love the way the episode ended. It's like Mike knows that Gus can't kill him because he's too valuable.
Yeah,
he's way too valuable. There's no way that Gus is just going to kill him. So.
Yeah, then we see that scare tactic by Victor, getting his gun and everything. But Gus, calms him down and basically says, no, not yet.
Yep. But, there is some respect there. I think Gus has respect for Mike. I think he does. Because Mike is good at what he does. And that's the kind of thing Gus can use. Gus can utilize people like Mike.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think Mike just does not want the bullshit. He wants to absolutely know what's going on. He wants to be in on it, but he also doesn't want to be jerked around either.
Yeah. And Mike is basically telling Gus, quit with the games and let me do what you hired me to do.
Yep. Exactly. That's what Mike. I mean, Mike wants to work with Gus, but at the same time, he's like, we don't need these BS games. We need to work together. Like, whatever you want me to do, if you want me to work for Madrigal, I'll work with Madrigal. If you want me to do a job for you, I'll do a job. So, and it's cool to see these characters from Breaking Bad. I mean, we saw Ira, we saw, Gail, which was wow.
That was just. I think that's going to be the big highlight of this whole season was Gail. Last season was Lydia. Lydia, by far, Lydia was the highlight, and then this season it's Gail. I can't wait to see who they got in store for us next season.
Yeah, the thing is, Lydia, the thing I noticed about Lydia and about her character is she has to have everything just so. It's just like everything has to be, and she's very fussy about things. She's very particular. Yeah, she's very particular.
Yeah, I hope we get to see more of Lydia.
She has little quirks about her. That's one thing. I think that, but I think that's a good thing that she has those little quirks about her because it makes her a unique character, not just a cardboard cutout, or cookie
Yeah.
cutter type
Hmm.
character. It gives her more depth, much like Jonathan Banks gives Mike more depth. That Mike has a lot of
Hmm.
depth to him.
Yeah. So let's see here. There was some Breaking Bad Easter eggs. There was someone mentioned the name Esmeralda, which is a
Yes.
callback to Marie's name for Holly. Little baby Esmeralda. This
Uh
is
huh.
you,
Uh huh.
Esmeralda. Great callback. Another callback to Breaking Bad was when Kim was at the courthouse. The guard mentioned Judge Papaduman, uh, which is the same judge Saul mentioned to Hank, and
Uh huh.
Judge Papaduman.
Oh yeah.
I hope I wonder if we get to see her. I hope we get to see her. I think that'd be good. That would be good. Getting to see Judge Papaduman.
And also something that you mentioned, you said something about state or Kim wanted Jimmy to see a therapist, and you
Yeah,
thought, I wonder if that's the same therapist that Marie went to.
yeah, I know. Because we don't. She just said, "Here's a therapist." She didn't mention no names, no nothing. I wonder if it's going to be the same therapist that Marie went to. I think it was Dave. Dave.
Yep, maybe. Who knows? That'd be very interesting if it was.
That'd be a good way to bring in Marie. Is to have Jimmy go to therapy, and she's like, waiting. She's sitting on the couch or something, and Jimmy's like, going up next to her, and they have a little conversation or something. Saying, oh, talking about the therapist, saying, oh, and she's like, Dave's great. He works with me. He's great. He's good. He's good with me. That'd be a good way to have Marie, pop in. That'd be a
It
good
would
Marie pop
be.
in.
Yeah, it would be. But yeah, these were, of course, both. I mean, both of these episodes were just tremendous. I mean, just the writing, of course, is top notch. The direction, everything. Uh, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
amazing stuff.
And Marie, she works at the hospital. So I wonder if she's going to do like, the radiology stuff on Hector.
Ooh, I
If
wonder.
if they put Hector through like the MRI machine or something, I don't know if that's going to be Marie, taking the pictures or something. That'd be good. That'd be a good cameo for Marie.
It would be, yeah. Now, are we also going to see maybe? Well, I don't know if we're going to see her stealing stuff, but like being a klepto,
Mm-hmm.
which I mean that was. Remember, I was saying Breaking Bad, she still like the spoons and stuff like that.
That was great.
Of course, her favorite color is purple. We know this.
Purple,
We
yeah.
know she loved purple.
All right, so I
Betty
think
Betty Brant, yeah, Betty
Betsy
Brant. She
Brand.
she
She is
was.
hilarious.
I don't know if that show that she was on is going to be back this season or not. In Pieces.
I don't know, the one with Tom Hanks' son, Colin.
Yeah, Colin Hanks, James
Yeah,
Brolin is on that show. Yeah,
she is funny as hell.
she's
Betsy
great.
Brand. She
Yeah,
is funny. She's a funny woman.
she is. She is. She is great.
So I think we
So,
discussed the main parts in both of these episodes. Let's do predictions for Monday's episode. Monday's episode is called "Quite a Ride," and we see in the teasers that Jimmy is going to be in a looks to me like a cubicle.
hmm.
Yeah, in a cubicle in the previews. And there was also one preview that was posted by AMC called Gus's Foreign Recruit. This German dude, gets a phone call from Mike, and he's telling him what to do and where to go. So I wonder who is this guy? Where is he going? What's this whole thing with Gus?
Well, don't
Uh,
forget. if you remember at the beginning of season 5 of Breaking Bad, they showed the German guy who killed himself by shocking his
Oh
heart
yeah, that's right. I
in the
wonder if this is the
bathroom.
same dude. I wonder if this is the
Yeah,
same dude.
because remember there were all these there was this huge umbrella corporation which had all these different fast food
Hmm.
places,
Yeah.
including of course Los Pollos Hermanos.
Hmm. I don't know if this is the same dude or not. The
If
magical
it,
dude, the magical
how could
executive.
yeah Madrigal? I mean, could he be connected somehow? Could this guy be connected to that? If he's German,
Hmm.
yeah, you have to wonder about that. Could that be another callback?
Yeah.
So
Let's see here.
yeah, it. Oh man, I mean
Nice.
this season of Better Call Saul. You know, they're filling in a lot of the gaps. They're
Hmm.
giving us a lot of Breaking Bad Easter eggs and all that. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean it's getting Breaking Bad by every second, by every episode. You know, it's closer to Breaking Bad territory. But so Monday's episode, we got some plot points to tie up. What's going to happen with Jimmy and his cell phone gig? You know, what's the reformations that he's going to get from that? Is he going to get reprimanded from that? And it seems like he might get reprimanded. He might be gonna have to do cubicle work. You know, maybe some IT support or something with the in the cubicle.
maybe. I mean, if they haven't fired him.
Maybe,
But the thing is, if they fire him, he would have to make a quick turnaround to find another job.
yeah. Because they fire him and then his cubicle job be a new job.
I have no idea.
It's kind of hard to predict or figure out what's going to happen in these episodes.
Yeah, and is there going to be any follow? I'm sure there's going to be some follow up with the whole thing with the group and
Yeah,
with Mike
Mike
and
and
Anita.
Stacy. You know,
Yeah, and Stacy also.
what's going on with Kim? You know, is Kim going to be put to work by the judge as a DA? Not a DA, but I think is it a DA?
Something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. So is he
And
going to get?
I think she's going to have her paralegal with her probably.
Mhm. Where's where's Francesca? We need Francesca. Gotta have some
Yeah,
Francesca
are
in
they
our
going to
lives.
bring Francesca back at some point? Yeah, you have to wonder. They would have to, you know,
Yeah, they
especially
have to.
like if they finally show his actual transition into Saul Goodman, where he's wearing the colorful
Mhm.
suits and he starts his own, you know, he has the office and everything. He rents out the strip mall location and all that. They have to bring Francesca back.
Yeah. Let's see here. So yeah, so Monday's episode is called "Quite a Ride," and then the episode after that is Pinata.
Pinata, interesting.
So I wonder when
Cool.
we're gonna get the follow up on Hector.
Yes, I'm sure. Well, it's going to be this season, obviously. I think
Mm-hmm. And
because
then where? Yeah,
we have to see Lalo if indeed Lalo is giving Hector the bell.
I'm calling it right now. He is. I'm calling it right now. He
Because
is.
obviously Hector cannot speak, so he has to have a way to communicate.
Hmm.
You know, and Mark Margolis, his facial expressions were just great. You know, on
Yeah.
Breaking Bad, and where he was trying to spell out naughty words and all that.
That was great. That was hilarious. That was freaking hilarious.
Yeah, suck my.
That was great. But yeah, and then we got to follow up on Gus's plan. I hope we get to see more of Gale.
Yep.
We need at least 1 or 2 more episodes of Gale.
Yes.
And then Lydia. Is Lydia going to come back? We saw Lydia earlier in the season, but is she going to come back?
We'll probably see some of her again, perhaps, at some point.
And we forgot the big elephant in the room was that we saw this last season, the laundromat. Is the laundromat going to be another? Are they going to show the laundromat again? Is the laundromat going to be up and running this season? I hope. Hopefully, the laundromat's up and running this season.
Yep, and then we know that Gus will be working. I mean, not Gus. Gale will be working there.
Mm-hmm.
So, because we did see, yeah. Or are they going to wait until another season down the road, or 2 seasons down the road, or whatever? Mm-hmm. Who knows?
Yeah, but it's been renewed for season 5.
Yeah. Well, let's see, 2004. If the current setting is 2004, then I believe wasn't Breaking Bad in 2008 or 2007?
Yeah. 2008.
Yeah. As far as what year it was set, and we're talking about it actually was set over a 2-year period.
Yeah.
Because
Walter turns 52 because he was 52 at Denny's. On season 5.
Yeah.
But it makes me wonder if they're going to do a time jump. They're going to do like a time skip, because we know for a fact that Jimmy has a year of probation, then he can be a lawyer again. Are they going to fast forward a little bit, and and make him a lawyer, or are we going to stick around with Jimmy before he becomes Saul?
I kind of like the fact that they're building it up. They're building up the fact that he's going to that he is. They're building it up. They're not rushing into, he's going to be Saul right now. No, they're building it up. Which I think the slow burn in this case is actually better.
Mm-hmm.
Because it gives more backstory. It gives us more depth to the characters. And to me, that it's more enjoyable.
Yeah.
To have it kind of build up.
Mm-hmm. I think we talked a little bit about Monday's episode, and we did something beautiful in talk. And I think we covered the big major points that's coming in. And also what's going to happen with Jim and Kimmy's relationship. Is she going to get fed up with Jimmy's refusal to acknowledge Chuck and grieve about his death, or what's going to happen with that? Is this whole thing going to blow up? I would love to see Jimmy in therapy. I think that'd be fun. I hope they go that route. I hope they go at least show us in 1 episode of therapy with Jimmy, and go that route and show us. But let's go ahead and end it for tonight. We'll be back next week to talk about Quite a Ride. It's going to be episode 5. Episode 5, I believe.
It is episode 5.
Mid-season.
The midpoint of the season.
Midpoint of the season, which is, man, this is going by fast.
It is, and yes, there will be an episode this Monday night. They are gonna, even though it's Labor Day, they're still gonna air a new episode. So.
All right, sounds good. We need the Saul. We need the Better Call Saul. But that's going to do for us tonight. We stated earlier in the episode we had we had a fun time with Gonzo, aka Jesus Payon Jr. We
Yeah,
talked Bigfoot, we
that was
talked
great.
Breaking Bad, we talked Better Call Saul. He gave us some insight if he's going to be back on Better Call Saul or not. You're going to have to watch that and see. You're going to have to watch that. You're going to have to watch that interview, and I don't want to give anything away. You got to watch it. You got to watch it. And I'm sure I can go on out on a limb and say, yeah, he will be back. We will interview him sometime in the future, especially if he gets all the permissions and the okay to talk about his new show that is in the planning stages. We will have him back. So I'll post that link to that interview in the description below. So go check that out. So that's going to do us for tonight. We'll be back here next week at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to talk Right a Ride. It's episode 5, mid-season. It has been quite a ride. I gotta say, it's been quite a ride. But I cannot wait. It's gonna be fun. So we'll see you here next week. Good night, everybody. See you here next week.